Welcome to the Spiritual Sweet Spot, a place where you can rejuvenate your soul. Hosted by author M.B. Moses. This is a safe space for all.
Decoding Dreams podcast is back in full in force. Family, I've been excited to come back at the start of this fresh, brand new year because I thought that part 4 and part 5 of Unleashing Limiting Beliefs for Manifesting Mastery would be perf for January. So I hope that this podcast finds you and your loved ones doing absolutely wonderful. Sending love and light to you all. I'm so excited as I am, especially for a new year and especially for 2024. 2024 in numerology is the number 8. And number 8 is my favorite number in numerology. It represents abundance, balance, and success. All three things that I am manifesting for this year. Yes. Abundance, balance, and success. Let us hold on to this number 8 energy this year and ride on the wave of abundance, balance, and success. I'm excited to continue this series with you. Those that are new to our podcast, welcome. Welcome to Decoding Dreams podcast. And my day ones, thank you so much for returning. Thank you so much for downloading my global audience. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your energy. I feel the energy. Global audiences, local audiences, brand new people. Thank you for downloading and listening. I definitely have to. Remember, I used to be a shout out queen. My day one, remember that? All right, let's get back into it in 2024, just a little bit. Don't do it too much. Okay. All right. So I want to shout out to TikTok. TikTok, I see you and I thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your support. We opened a TikTok shop in October. We opened a TikTok page like end of August. No, was it end of September? I don't recall. August or September. But the TikTok shop, I want to say we opened it up in October, I want to say. And it has been a blast. It has been fun. We sell mindfulness journals on TikTok. So I thank you all so much for your support. So I'm excited to start our new year with these amazing tips and tricks on our manifesting journey. So we're still talking about the conversation and the title, Unleashing Limiting Beliefs for Manifesting Mastery. Today we are going to talk about part 4. Part 4 is releasing limiting beliefs for manifesting success. We are talking about releasing limiting beliefs for manifesting success. What else can you pair up with the number 8, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. And if you have not paid attention or listened to the past parts, that's okay. We're just going to pick up from this part. They don't have to be listened to in any particular order, but if you do want to really get to the bottom of what limiting beliefs or what it all means and entails, especially as it pertains to manifesting success, then it is advisable or recommendable to start off from part 1. So let's dive into this. Releasing limiting beliefs for manifesting success. Releasing limiting beliefs is an important step towards manifesting success. We're going to talk about a couple of talking points here, and we're going to view each approach, and perhaps some of these may resonate with someone. And if it does, feel free to insert. So the first part in releasing limiting beliefs for manifesting success, we want to identify the limiting beliefs. So this looks like taking some time to reflect on our thoughts and our patterns that may be holding us back. Sometimes it also looks like writing down any beliefs that we feel are limiting our potential for success. Remember, in some of the past parts, we have talked about cultural beliefs. We talked about societal beliefs. We talked about childhood beliefs. So we've talked about some of the elements that may be the hindrance for limiting beliefs. So now in this part, we're going to challenge ourselves to identify the specific limiting beliefs. What does that look like for you? I knew at some point in my time from the last past conversations, from the last parts, I had to recognize that I was fearful of my intellectual limiting belief, right? So we're going to talk about that on the next part here, which is challenge the beliefs. Once you have identified the limiting beliefs that you have written down, right, we need to question their validity. In other words, is this rational or irrational, right? What is Spirit saying about this whole matter? Are they based on facts or assumptions or delusions? And delusions is just being far detached from reality, right? Delulu. Can you find evidence to support or refute them? Engage in critical thinking to challenge these beliefs and recognize that they are not absolute truths. This was a hard pill for me to swallow. So as I mentioned about my intellectual beliefs, and from the last parts, I spoke about my childhood introduction to society, where we were in a system, and also in my familial ecosystem, double whammers there, where I was categorized as someone that was not smart academically. That affected my life, my upbringing, my navigating through life. I became that student that was always quiet, even though I felt like I knew the answer and the answer would be right. I spoke less because I did not want to affirm and confirm what everyone had told me in my childhood. And remember, with my example of my primary school set up. So I didn't want that to become an obvious reality, because if it did, it would further make me just feel like, okay, they were really correct, because I was already believing that I was not intellectually smart. I was put in a category of less than smart kids in primary school, which is like junior high, middle school in America. And so I started excelling in high school and beyond. But no matter how much I started excelling, and as I sit and look at my certificates on the walls and my accolades through academia, it still didn't feel like I was intellectually smart, because my foundation as a child was molded as less than smart. So, and then my familial family ecosystem also echoed that. So I did not have, per se, within those foundational years of my life, anyone patting me on my back. Oh, you got this. You're so smart. Oh, good job. High five. Thumbs up. None of that. Right. So I was led to believe throughout life what had already been set. So even with what I have accomplished, I still couldn't see it. So it became a moment where I had to challenge some of these beliefs, and it had to be a hard, cold truth. It was all when I had to actually take credentials for my career. These beliefs withheld me from succeeding. These were beliefs caked up in me, right? And this is how limiting beliefs can hold us back from being the best versions of ourselves and or becoming what we need to become, right? And so I withheld all of that from myself because I was afraid that the truth was that I was not intellectually smart. I could have excelled and succeeded career-wise, because every credential you get is more money, it's more step up, it's more leverage, it's blah, 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 blah on the resume. But I withheld that from myself because I didn't want to face failure, the taking the credential and then failing, even though my skill itself, my skill was confirmed and affirmed by instructors, my teachers, my professor, the radiologist that I worked alongside will compliment my handwork, my skill set. It was still not enough because it was not on paper, right? It was not, even though I made it through programs, it's a psychological mind F. You know what I mean? So listen, this is challenging the beliefs. So it's important. I had to identify that I am smart. You are intelligent. You've gotten this far, had to do the whole talk and had to really try and believe myself through it. Right? Because, hey, if you were not smart, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't, I've had circle of friends, people that have told me that you're smart and all this other stuff, but it's like, I don't see it. My older brother affirms that in my life. So it's about challenging ourselves on how we see ourselves. We have to identify them. We have to tackle these with some validity, right? And it's absolutely true. We have to engage in critical thinking to challenge these beliefs. I was refuting my critical thinking. I was like, I don't see it. I guess I'm all right. People are just saying things to be nice. That's how I've always navigated life. Now, listen, you're listening to the most negative self-talking. You listen to the most rehabilitated, negative self-talking individual that I have ever personally met. Right? So you identify what it is. You challenge that belief, right? And then now we want to replace those beliefs that we have written down, that we have identified. We want to replace them with empowering beliefs, right? So replacing the limiting beliefs with empowering ones that support your goals and aspirations, right? Let's take me for example. My limiting belief, which was negative, my limiting belief that I was not smart enough to succeed. I had to replace it with the belief that I have the intelligence and capability to learn and grow. So for a while, I went on this, what do they call it? Overcompensating, I guess. So for a while, I went on this binge where I was taking courses here and, those little crash courses and all this and, being this ferocious reader and just like, because it's like I'm intelligent and I'm capable. I'm intelligent and I'm capable and I can learn and grow. I could learn and grow. Right? So it's about replacing what we have written down, right? Challenging the beliefs. Are they valid? Hashtag, is it rational? Are they based on facts or assumptions? We need facts, not assumptions, right? It's easy to always assume the worst of ourselves. But is it factual? For me, it was not factual because what I have on paper disagrees with what I think of myself. What does that mean? The things that I've amassed in terms of that career that I was in shows that I am intelligent, right? So my assumptions of myself and my intellect were falsehoods, aka limiting beliefs. So what does that look like for you when you have to replace the empowering beliefs, right? So in the last podcast, we may have touched on the fact that not everyone is going to have childhood traumas, right? Perhaps it didn't stem from your childhood. Perhaps it stemmed when you were in high school or college as that coach the coach that benched you all the time led you feeling like you were never worthy, or if an athlete, you were never good enough, or perhaps it was that English teacher in high school that made you feel that you could never pull off writing a book, or you could never, amount to anything. Or perhaps it was a chemistry teacher and you really want to be a chemist when you grow up or something. And so now you're challenging all these beliefs about yourself because at some point in time in your life, perhaps it was a certain belief that was embedded in your life through this journey. What does that look like for you? And how can you replace that empowering beliefs? What are some of the things around you that can remind you of your empowerment past that limiting belief? And like I said, I'll be honest, I grappled with even my hard evidence of certificates of completion and so forth and all that. I still was thinking that my intellectual capacity was still not where it needed to be. For the longest time, besides being an introvert, for real, besides being an introvert, I just became so reclused in a lot of spaces with people that were so unfamiliar, or academic spaces and so forth, because I just felt like, I might say something stupid, and that will show that I'm not like intellectual, or I'm not intelligent, so I just really held on, and I've since freed myself because I'm allowing myself to grow, right? And it's a process. It's definitely a process. So I'm urging to that person who this may resonate with, how are you replacing your limiting beliefs with empowering beliefs? What does that look like for you? Perhaps you're on the swim team and your swim coach say you will never make the Olympics or something, but now you really want to engage in the Olympics, or maybe furthering your athletic ability, however that looks like. Or maybe you're in drama. Perhaps it's moments in your life. Maybe you're a musician and you feel like, well, I can never amount to the musicians these days, or because people have told you can't sing, or you have this belief about yourself that you cannot sing or you cannot play, or what does that look like for you? And how can you replace those limiting beliefs with empowering beliefs? My replacement was, I have the intelligence and capability to learn and grow. I have the intelligence and capability to learn and grow. I have the intelligence and capability to learn and grow. So, it's something, and it does wonders to you as well, right? You just become like this all sponge absorbing of sometimes frivolous information that people don't need to hear, but it's kind of cool, So what does it look like for you, and what are you saying about yourself? Right? So we're talking about releasing limiting beliefs for manifesting success, part 4. We're identifying the limiting beliefs, challenging the beliefs. Now when we challenge and understand what the beliefs are, whether they're facts or assumptions, then now we want to replace them with empowering beliefs. Let's talk about affirmations and visualization. Now that we have identified what they are, now that we're replacing them with empowering beliefs, now we want to talk about affirmations and visualization. Utilizing positive affirmations and visualization techniques to reinforce our new empowering beliefs. Repeat affirmations that reflect your desired beliefs daily and visualize yourself already achieving your goals. This helps reprogram your subconscious mind. A very, 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 very powerful but yet useful tip. This is my go-to of all go-to. Repeating affirmations. You just heard me go back and forth with that. I have the intelligence and capability to learn and grow. If it means taking that red lipstick and writing it on my mirror, it's right there. If I have to remind myself first thing in the morning, it's right there. If I have to remind myself before I go to sleep, it's right there. Repetition does an amazing wonder in sowing that seed of positivity into your soul. So I've always believed, and I've always been a firm user of repetitive affirmations. I love to use repetitive affirmations, especially before I go to sleep, to ignite that powerful power within the subconscious realm as I go to sleep. Now, you could do repetitive affirmations first thing in the morning, heck, during the day, at work, at lunch, whatever that looks like for you. Repeating it is powerful. Hearing your voice, putting this verbiage into the universe, coming from your mouth, is powerful. Powerful word spells that are positive. It does something to your psyche. Now, visualization techniques differ as whichever is comfortable for you. I love to do a lot of visualization before I go to sleep, depending on what the occasion is. Now, when I had challenged myself to credential up within my career after I had stayed away for a long time because of fear of failing, and failing would mean that everyone was right in my childhood and growing up, that I wasn't intellectual and I wasn't intelligent, I wasn't smart enough. So therefore, if I just don't take the credentials, I won't know, and I won't have to put myself in that uncomfortable state, was my mind frame. Not taking into consideration at that time, it wasn't something I thought out like, okay, this is how we're going to strategize it. It was acts, is the way I resented wanting to study for the credentialing and even doing all of that, even knowing that it was benefiting my resume, my repertoire, right? So it's not things that you mentally, physically articulate. It's the way your body, your mind, the way you move around it. Mm-hmm. So therefore, affirmations and visualizations, when I first said I was going to tackle this monster that's been plaguing my career for a very long time, I would close my eyes like I do most and have a repetitive visualization of the word pass, 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 pass in white neon color. Go to sleep to that. And it did wonders. And remember, with affirmations, you want to be in the present term, right? I know Dolores Canyon speaks a lot about manifesting within the present, which is powerful, right? So for me, it was, I am a registered vascular specialist. I am a registered vascular specialist. I'm a registered vascular specialist. Before I took my test, I had to get comfortable with that verbiage. I had to possess that within the manifestation realm. Just like as we manifest our days. Listen, my routine when I start that car, no matter which coworker I'm working with, because y'all know we have work BFFs, the people you just vibe with, and then it's always that one. We won't mention no names. And so I don't care how that day looks that day and who it is and how busy the day is. When I put that key in the car, today's a good day. Today's an awesome day. Not today's going to be. Present tense. Today is a good day. Today is an awesome day. Despite how it looks, today is an awesome day. Present tense. Present tense manifestation is powerful. All right. So same as affirmation, present day affirmations are powerful as well. And or visualization, whatever your visualization techniques look like. What is that? I am going to win a gold medal. I'm doing the Olympics. I'm going to win thousands of gold medals. I am going to chart. I'm going to release my album, and I'm going to chart I am charting the billboards, charting the billboards, right? I'm on the billboards. I'm number one on the billboard. I'm at the top of the Billboard charts. I am a New York Times bestseller. I have sold over 100,000 copies. I have sold millions of book copies. I'm selling millions, right? Books are flying off the shelf. So remember, affirmations and visualizations are a tool, a vehicle to also help embed within our subconscious mind. Repetition is always key, right? For most people that also study or take tests, some of the things why we have index cards is a repetitive motion of it to bring back into memory. It's very powerful when you use repetitive affirmations. Something magical about it. It's reprogramming the subconscious mind for sure. So we want to repeat our affirmations that reflect our desired beliefs daily and visualize ourselves already achieving our goals. Talking about part 4, releasing limiting beliefs for manifesting success. We're identifying the limiting beliefs. What are your limiting beliefs that you can identify? Then you are challenging the beliefs. What is it about those limiting beliefs that you can challenge, facts or assumptions, and how you can find evidence to support or refute them? Remember to exercise critical thinking to challenge them. Not what Aunt Betty said, not what Aunt Susie said, not what Uncle Tom said, right? What is the critical thinking behind that? At some point in time, I had to say, listen, okay, it's not a death sentence. If I go take this credential, if I pass or fail, I looked at it like this. If I fail, at least I know what the experience feels like, and I'll be better prepared next time. If I pass, that's a good thing. So I had to weigh the pros and cons and really exercise critical thinking, that understanding that it's not the end or be it, and really honing on that despite how I felt about it, challenging my intellect. And then we're learning about replacing empowering beliefs once we have looked at them as facts or assumptions. And then affirming and visualization, whatever visualization looks like for you and whatever affirmations look like for you. It is important within this season where we're releasing limiting beliefs for manifesting success that we also really immerse ourselves within the realm of a positive, high vibrational vortex, in the sense that perhaps going to sleep listening to positive motivation, positive affirmations, and or repeating your affirmations and or your visualization techniques, waking up to positivity. Let that be at least the first part of your morning, perhaps as you get ready, just to usher in a positive day, just to usher in a positive energy vortex and a field around yourself, if possible. And heck, I don't have time. I'm running out the door in the shower. I have done some mantras right on in the shower. So it doesn't require much, but it's just about getting that balance within your routine. So now we're talking about taking inspired action. For what good is this whole entire conversation about releasing limiting beliefs for manifesting success if we're not going to talk about taking inspired action? Whatever inspired action looks like for you, right? So while we're changing our beliefs and understanding that changing our beliefs is very essential, it's equally important as well to act. Break down our goals into smaller, manageable steps and take consistent action towards them. This builds momentum and reinforces our belief in our ability to succeed. This is very important to understand, right? We could sit up here, have affirmations, visualizations in place. We could replace our empowering beliefs. We could change the beliefs by figuring out facts or assumption, and we could identify the limiting beliefs. But if we're not going to take inspired action, then we're not moving the needle forward, right? We're not moving the needle forward. And it is important within breaking down our goals into smaller manageable steps. I like to call it sustainability, right? The level of sustainability. Like, I'm not doing anything that's not sustainable. Sorry, but not sorry. Like, because the way my mind is set up, because I have tried a lot of things. And okay, so let's say this. For example, this is me. So in this rigmarole of, proactivity of being fit and gym goals and weight loss goals, going yo-yoing and so forth, right? I've had so many moments. I think the older I get, I'm just understanding myself a little bit better. So it'll be moments back in the day where I'll be like, all right, I'll order all this like workout gear and get my protein shakes and my pre-workout, post-workout, everybody workout and so forth stuff. And I was doing too much. I was doing way too much, right? I need jumping ropes with weights on them, because this is the routine I'm going to do when I start this gym. Getting back in the gym, I'm doing 3 days, 4 days. Okay, I'm going in, busting down cardio and going hard. Go hard or go home, right? Child, please. So I get all this stuff. Amazon, boop, bloop, 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 delivers it on the day of. And when time comes, it's another thing to convince your mind, right? What you were talking about. Like, oh, you were talking all that smack, right? Now you've done 10 hours of work. Let's go see what you're going to do. Now I'm all up in the gym, mad that I got to be in there. But I'm like, okay, I'm here now. Let me just give it 10 minutes. 10 minutes. At least I'm doing something. So therefore, after that, I feel so down, because I'm like, oh, we're never going to get anywhere in 10 minutes. We're never going to get anywhere in 10 minutes. What are we doing, sis? We got to ramp up the activity here, right? Just not having grace and patience for myself. But time and wisdom itself has taught me something about myself, in which I will share with you all, and perhaps it could help someone right now. Be gracious with yourself. Give yourself grace. Be patient with yourself. And when I started to notice my little pattern, because I had to call myself out, I was like, nope, from now on in life, we're doing sustainable measures. It's my favorite word. Is it sustainable is what I ask myself, because I already know how my mind works now. If it's not sustainable, we're not going to do it. And then I realized introducing new habits or reintroducing myself to environments and so forth, I have to take baby steps. So maybe a baby step looks like me walking around the block, okay, once a week, and then ramping it up walking twice around the block once a week. So baby steps, and making it more I used to try to go ham. I buy meal prep meals and all this other stuff. Honey, we'll meal prep for 1 week and be exhausted behind it. Be exhausted behind it. I was like, you're doing too much. Let everything just happen naturally. Let it unfold naturally. Let's find sustainable baby steps. And then I have to be patient with myself and give myself grace, right? So this may resonate with someone out there. Sustainability is a must, right? We have to break down our goals into smaller, manageable steps, aka sustainable steps. And then it's all about consistency, taking consistent action towards them, no matter what that looks like for you, right? Perhaps it's not re-entering the gym. Perhaps it's not weight loss. Perhaps it's getting back into the work environment. Perhaps it's getting back into the groove of your craft. Like for me, getting back into writing. Since my sister passed in 2021, it's been a halt. So it's getting back into writing. Now that I'm older and getting a little bit wiser, I'm like, we're going to start off with baby steps. Sustainability. One thing I noticed about myself, if I do too much, I overwhelm myself, right? So that's why for me, it has to be getting into smaller, sustainable steps. And then, because when I get overwhelmed, I'm like, I don't even want to do it. I'm good. I am all the way good. So finding grace and patience for yourself is also a key, but consistency will always bring great results. But remember, consistency doesn't mean overwhelming yourself and doing everything right there and then. I know sometimes, like me, when the motivation hits, I feel like everything should just no. Now I'm like, just take my time, let everything unfold naturally, let everything be, so that when it builds momentum, it will reinforce our belief in our ability to succeed. So think about how you could take inspired action, particularly as it pertains to releasing limiting beliefs for manifesting success. How does that look like for you? What are you thinking about, or what will it look like for you? Remember, it doesn't have to be anything huge, catastrophic. You can start off with very small, manageable steps. Sometimes it's research, but don't stay in the zone of research, right? So what does taking inspired action look like for you? How will you break down your goals into smaller, manageable steps? And how will you remember to be patient with yourself and to have grace with yourself? Let everything unfold naturally. As long as you are putting in the energy and remaining consistent in it, whatever that looks like that you're aspiring for, it'll definitely show results. Remember, releasing limiting beliefs takes time and practice. Absolutely. It's not a one size fit all. It takes time and practice. I could tell you, as a rehabilitated negative self-talker, thinker, that it took time to break those bonds of negativity from my psyche, because it'll be moments where life itself happens and everything seems good. I'm doing positive affirmations, but just let one little thing go wrong. One itty bitty hair go out of place. One itty bitty minor inconvenience happen. Then I'm throwing up my hands like, try and catch myself retorting back into familiar negative thought. Of course, why would that have been so good for me anyways? Of course that was going to happen. And then, don't say that. Don't say that. It's just one little bitty thing. How are we going to work past this? How are we going to work forward and move forward? Right? So it takes time, but the most you could do is be patient and find grace within yourself. Be patient and find grace within yourself. Give yourself grace and be patient. Above all, also be kind to yourself. Embrace a growth mindset and be sure to surround yourself with positive influences. Seek support from mentors or coaches if needed, and celebrate your progress along the way. Absolutely. I am a celebration queen. It doesn't matter what the milestone is or what it looks like. It's going to get celebrated, because at some point in time in my life, I realized I wasn't celebrated enough. So when I was able to celebrate every little small win, I said I would celebrate it with a bang. So whatever that looks like for you, be sure to incorporate that, because you too deserve to celebrate every single milestone. So I'm excited about this series, especially for January 2024, especially for the number 8 in numerology. And we are talking about our series, Unleashing Limiting Beliefs for Manifesting Mastery. We just wrapped up part 4, Releasing Limiting Beliefs for Manifesting Success. So part 5, we're going to be building empowering beliefs. How fun, how fun, how fun. So we do have journals up. You could visit www.mbmosley.com, www.mbmosley.com, mosley.com, www.mbmosley.com. I'm so excited about the mindfulness journals. You can get links on there if you want to purchase our journals through TikTok, there is a link at the bottom of the homepage. And I want to give a special shout out to TikTok if I have not already. Thank you so much for your support, TikTok. When we opened up that shop in October, you all came out and showed out, and I appreciate every single one of you that has bought journals and books from our TikTok shop. Now, I'm so excited in 2024 to release some more journals that are so far we have a shadow workbook and journal, and we have a self-love workbook and journal. We have let me think about this, gratitude journal. How dare I? And so I'm so excited for January the 1st, 2024. I published a near and dear journal, super near and dear to me. It is a sobriety journal, and the journal is an accountability journal. Perhaps you are not in the battle of sobriety, but you may know someone. And this is a tool that is used to help within your sobriety journal. This is not your intervention. This is not your therapy. If you are within the help and realms of professional help and or attending programs, I always advise to continue to do that. This is a journal that is also aiding as an accountability partner. And most of you that know my day ones know I've spoken about this before. I'm a recovered alcoholic, right? I became sober August 2011. I think the date was like 23, 24, 25. Nevertheless, I've always never made it a point to remember the exact date, but rather the month and the year. So August 2011, and I had battled alcoholism as what they call a functioning alcoholic, for about 9 years. And this journal represents a lot to me. I realized that I need to give back and talk more about substance abuse and sobriety itself, especially after I lost my younger sister in 2021. That was the year that she would have been turning 35. So she died before her 35th birthday. She was 34, and she died due to complications of liver failure due to drinking. So if it's anything that I would hold near and dear more passionately, is talking about substance abuse and recovery. And I created this journal because I think the discussion is so complicated, to the fact that unless you are a recovered addict, you would understand more so what addiction is. This is not saying that people that have not suffered addiction don't get it. That's not what I'm insinuating. I'm talking about really comprehending what this disease is. It's one thing to have the tools to be able to read it up on Google and so forth, but it's another thing to really know that this is a disease that human beings, doesn't matter your color, your creed, your educational level, or your background, it knows no bounds. This is a disease that takes over and plans to disintegrate the human body and won't stop until the human body is fully depleted, unless there's interventions and methods to help. So this conversation, perhaps it may help someone that may have a relative or someone that is suffering from addiction. And this journal is on Amazon right now. We haven't put it on the website, but my website will still lead you to our Amazon shop, and you should be able to see it. Or if you open up your Amazon search engine, it'll say Mirror Work Sobriety Journal. If you type those words exactly, it will pull it up. Mirror Work Sobriety Journal. Mirror Work Sobriety Journal. Something I would have liked to have when I was going through my battle with addiction. And it's hard. It's hard to have gone through it, and then it's hard to lose someone because of it. So as we unfold in life and go on our journey, this is one of my most painful moments in life that I'm still trying to grapple with, right? The loss of my sister. And I understand that we have so many wonderful resources that are available to us, so many great intervention and therapies and so forth. But I tell you what, if you know someone, or if you have a family member that has lost it to addiction, try to help them as much as you can. Try to utilize all the resources. I do understand that it's been once said, we'll wait till people hit rock bottom. I get that. I really do. I respect that. But as a person that has actually suffered this disease, been there, known what that fight was, not having the willpower and hating yourself because you don't understand how you could be, on one hand, you're this force. I was a functioning alcoholic. I showed up to work on time. I was actually in a dual position. I was in leadership and a clinician, and therefore my numbers were great with my team and all across the board. I was a hard worker, always been. It's my work ethic. But at the same time, I've lost this grip with life. I was grappling with that as well. It was hard for me. I couldn't understand why I couldn't stop what I was doing. And now that I'm in the spiritual aspects of things, I realize the force and the pull and the influence behind certain dark powers. Because my soul, as it laid in me, would cry out in torment and pain. I would pull up to this little gas station where every time after work I would stop there. I would never make it home before stopping there. So I would stop there to go get the alcohol, and it got to a point I admitted myself into an outpatient rehab, came out, and I relapsed. And when I relapsed, it took a heavy toll on me. I mean, death was my destiny. And I knew that. I knew that 100%. I've always had this innate ability to have certain knowings in certain moments and know the outcome. So right there and then I knew I was under 30, and I knew I was going down, especially after I relapsed. I was no longer in denial. I was actually just using, because that is what I was used to. I was used, this is the life that I was used to, and it's something that kept pulling me to want to drink. Sometimes I would pull up to this gas station and cry while I sat in the car. I would sit in the car sometimes for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, hating myself. But I knew that if I drove off with that, going to buy what I needed in here, I was going to come back. I was going to pull up to the house. I've done it so many times and come back. And so I would get out and buy my alcohol and go home to drink myself to sleep and cry and continue to cry because I hated myself. I couldn't understand how I was I looked at myself and felt that I was a strong person. This strong person that is doing this good part. Like, numbers are good, we're soaring, I'm super ambitious at work, but I have the inability to be unable to quit. I had no willpower. I was drowning in something I hated, but I had to. It was a mix, and I know what was crying was my soul, crying out for me to stop. And as I did that, and I drank, and I would smoke tobacco, cigarettes when I drank, I would know for a fact that if I did not stop drinking in the excess amounts that I was drinking, I was going to die. Death was my destiny. I knew that if I crossed over into my 30s with this addiction morphing, because it was becoming stronger and stronger in terms of the consumption, because as addiction is, it grows. If people don't get the help they need, the resources they need, it grows. Addiction just doesn't simultaneously go away overnight. What it does, it grows. Your body wants more and more and more and more. I didn't know if I would hit a rock bottom more so than I would just end up dying. I truly believe that death was my destiny. So for my day ones, we've talked a little bit about my manifestation for sobriety. At that point in time, I did not know that I didn't have words to articulate it, that it was manifestation. I wasn't on a spiritual journey. Now I do understand. When I would sit in this cage and in this self-imprisonment of low vibrational dark energy, drinking myself away, I would see myself walking around. I wanted the simple and most basic things, which were walking around this beautiful park that we have. It has a lake. And if you walk around the walkway that's on the banks of this lake, it's about 4 miles, the whole entire park. But it's a beautiful scenery too. So I would see myself walking around that park all the way down to what I was wearing. And I would cry and continue to cry because I hated the person that I was becoming and that I was. I hated the fact that I couldn't stop drinking and be normal is what I would call it. I just wanted to be normal like other people. And some people that have never gone through this don't understand that at that time, that's all I wanted was to be free walking in a park. Ain't that crazy? That's something that regular people do. And I think about how that freedom is because you don't have this thing pulling you and tying you down into this cloud of addiction, into this vortex of addiction. And so there it was. That's all I wanted. I would see myself in this black jogging pants and a white tank and my music and my shades, and the skies were blue. The sun was just radiant, not too hot, not too cold, but just perfect. That's what I would envision as I drank myself. Over the weekends on Friday, I would go to the alcohol outlet to buy alcohol in excess as if I was throwing the biggest party in the city. But all of that was for me for the weekend because once I made it home Friday, I was in the house. I didn't want to go out there drinking and driving. I would lock myself in my house, in my prison, self-made prison, and drink myself throughout that weekend. Addiction is the most cruelest disease I have ever known. There's other things out there, and I understand that, but my personal journey I have ever known. Losing my sister to alcoholism has not been the easiest pill for me to swallow as a person that survived that journey. And so therefore, my goal in life is to plead and beg everyone that knows anybody, that has a friend, that has a loved one that may be going through it, to use all the resources and not give up on a loved one and think that there's nothing you could do. Unfortunately, the laws we have in place say that when they're over 18, they're adults, they have to make a choice, which I disagree because I suffered through this disease. You're inebriated. You don't think rationally. You're not of sound mind. I even urge people to go as far as using the resources that are locally available to you, searching through the internet, finding out how you can even sometimes incorporate the law enforcement to come help you, because I don't believe, as a recovered addict, when I look back on my journey in that moment, in that darkness, I didn't have the ability. I did not. I was a functioning alcoholic, but I did not have the ability to help myself. So if I could have anything that I would have done, would have been to pick my 85-pound deteriorated sister, because her weight was gone, and take her to rehab myself. And granted, I understand the physics and everything and the psychology of it. She would have gone to rehab, kicking and screaming. And therefore, if she came out and relapsed, I would be living a decent life knowing that I did the best I could at least once. I needed the help nobody came. So I know for a fact when I was drowning, if somebody came and grabbed me by my arms, shoved me in the back of a patrol car, and took me to somebody's rehab center, perhaps I could have also gotten the help I needed earlier than later. As our podcast unfolds, I'll probably go into details of how sobriety came to be and all that jazz, and get deeper into it, because now I'm on a personal mission to also help family members and people understand, right? It's a lot of great information out here, and I respect all the professionals and everyone that does talk about substance abuse and addiction and so forth. But trust and believe, as a person that lost someone, and they were, that lost someone and something could have been maybe done, it hurts. It hurts a lot. The dynamics hurt so much. But doing the best you can. So listen, the Mirror Work Sobriety Journal is available if you know someone, and or if you want to give it out as a gift. It's a great accountability partner to help someone, but it's not an aid to replace professional help, because professional help is always needed. Always needed. The experts are always needed. Whether it's tackling someone and taking them to the behavioral center, I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just saying, trust and believe that when you feel that at least you tried, and someone keeps living a destructive life and something happens to them, it's not an easier pill to swallow. You'll still miss that person. You'll still grieve that person. But you would know that there was a moment in time where we tried to get them help. People that have lost their grips to addiction are not people that are sound mind or rational minded people to make the best decisions for themselves. I hope that this helps someone today, or perhaps this may resonate with someone. I love you all so much, and I'll catch you all on part 5. We are in 2024. Love you.